Alexander Bean, whom everyone called Sawney, was born somewhere in the southeast of Scotland in the early 15th or 16th century. His father was a digger and hedge trimmer. His childhood was not a happy one, but who could have had a happy childhood in those days? He was beaten by his father, later got into trouble with the law. Sawney's life was worthless until he met Agnes Douglas, known as Black Agnes. It was love at first sight, love between a criminal and a convicted witch. Sawney knew he had no future in the city, but he didn't want to leave without his love, who was behind the bars. So he helped her escape, and together they stole a horse and fled into the woods. The law was after them, of course, but they hid well and waited for it to blow over. They soon found a large cave and disguised its entrance so that no one would find them. Quite romantic up to this point, but wait, it's about to take a turn. Neither of them excelled at hunting game, so they focused on hunting travelers, which was much easier. They ate their first human shortly after they moved in. Somewhere in the darkness of a Scottish cave, Sawney and Agnes had turned into something inhuman, hunting travelers and traders, and making babies when they had a moment of free time. In 25 years, they had 8 sons and 6 daughters. Their descendants went on to sire 18, more boys and 14 girls in incestuous relationships. This family clan subsisted mainly on human flesh because they were good at it. They knew how to carry off good chunks of meat to eat, but still leave the body lying in the road so that it looked like a bear had got it. Occasionally, though, one of the family would sneak into town and steal a small child or girl for themselves, nearly 50 creatures, more than half of which were the product of incest you don't want to meet. Unfortunately, over the course of their rampage, more than 1,000 people reportedly encountered them. Some sources speak of as many as 5,000 victims who were used as a source of sustenance. In the case of a larger catch, the family learned to preserve human flesh to make it last longer, and they were able to make many everyday items from human skin. The locals knew their region was dangerous, but blamed the disappearance of humans on wild animals, until one autumn evening when a nobleman and his bride were passing along the road. Sawney's family attacked as usual in large numbers, but they had no idea that the nobleman was armed with a pistol and a sword. He was able to take down several of the attackers, but his sweetheart was dragged into the woods, and unfortunately he was unable to prevent this. However, he managed to escape and report the whole incident to the town. The King of Scotland then formed a raiding party of 400 armed men to find the gang in the woods. They discovered the entrance to the cave thanks to the dogs they had brought with them. They went in with torches and swords in their hands. They found piles of human bones and tanned skins. Sawney and Agnes knew they had no chance against such odds, so they surrendered without a fight. They were dragged into the city. In accordance with the law of the time, they were executed after cruel torture. The men's limbs and genitals were cut off and thrown into the fire before their eyes. The women were burned at the stake. There is, however, a hitch in this interesting story. Experts on the history of England and Scotland cannot agree on whether it really happened. The first written version dates back to 1775. Until then, it had only been told. It is also suspected that the English made up the whole story to ridicule their not-so-loved Scottish neighbors. Nevertheless, the Scots consider the Sawney Bean story to be true and like to scare tourists with it. The figure of the famous man-eater can also be seen in the dark Edinburgh dungeon. The point of the story would then be clear. The tale was meant to haunt and demonstrate how quickly man loses his humanity. That all it takes is a little and suddenly you're leading a cult of deformed children, and before you know it, someone cuts off your junk and throws it in the fireplace. Whether the Sawney family existed or not, their story never ceases to fascinate. It was loosely adapted by Wes Craven in The Hills Have Eyes, and Chris Carter with his X-Files episode Home. Even Michael Crichton and John McTiernan combined the concept of the giant Grendel with Sawney and Eaters of the Dead, or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is exactly that type of story.